Okay, let me show off what is for lunch today. It is courtesy of Lady Stone. It is in food. It is a what kind of seasoning would you call this, my love?
Tahine?
Huh?
I mean, if it's not tahine, then you're doing it wrong.
No. What kind of seasoning would you call this chicken?
I just marinated in dark oak and soy sauce overnight,
Ooh.
and then I just coated it in cornstarch and fried it,
Okay.
and then with the teriyaki sauce over it.
So sort of a
I bet that's
different
freaking
kind of.
amazing.
Yeah, it is delicious, my love, so far. Okay.
So far,
Andy, how's it going?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good. I was just showing off Lady Stone's lunch that she made, which is a delicious chicken.
Oh, nice.
Asian style, a little bit of American flair with that Coke. Delicious.
a lot of people
bet-
look for marinade on Asian dishes because it has a lot of the spice and kick.
Yeah.
I bet
I
it would
think-
be good as like a shredded chicken, and then you turn it into some sort of like Caribbean jerk burrito.
That could be one way to go, yeah. But anyways, we'll get started. I don't know where Nate is, but today's topic is long form nature walks. And sort of the there's Nate. Okay, Nate, go ahead and give us our intro.
What's the episode number?
65.
Okay. Hello, peoples across all platforms, you stinkers. Welcome to Nate's podcast, episode 65.
Yep. And here comes Morocco begging for some chicken. In that right, you fruff. Don't you snap. Don't you sass me. You're always sassing me. Don't you snuff me. He does this little, like, Ringo did it too. It's this, what we would describe as a schnuff. It's like, he's, like, almost huffing through his mouth. And so it's like a, and so it's like their way of sassing to try to get food.
Oh yeah, my dog does the same thing. It's like a sneeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, we call it the schnuff. Okay. So, Andy, do you have any, because you usually have been having to go early, do you have any nature walk stories?
Define nature walk.
I mean, it can just be a walk by your favorite park. It can be, you know, a camping trip, a hiking trip, something.
Not. I don't really have much, but whenever I go out walking, I do like to feed whatever wild squirrels or whatever that happen to walk by.
Really? Like, what do you have just like peanuts or something you throw them?
Yeah, it's peanuts.
You never
Okay.
offered me a snack.
Yeah, he's a squirrel.
Do you even live in the same state?
Oh no.
Well,
Probably
you
not.
live in-
there you have it.
Yeah, Andy, you live in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine nature walks can probably be pretty tough because it probably rains there so often, right?
Sometimes. Depends on the time of year.
Or is that more or less just the Seattle area?
Go take your fish for a walk down the street.
Mhm.
Oh, fishy fish.
Right.
Go
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I also like seeing ducks as well.
Oh, and do you feed them like breadcrumbs?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not feed ducks bread. It's not good for them.
Well, they'll eat it anyway.
Heard that.
Yeah,
know how
but
true
you
it is.
know that's just animals. They will eat shit that's bad for them.
Yeah.
That's why I I stopped, but I shall put it there again. I carry like a can of peas in my backpack.
Yeah, ducks do like peas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Andy, the
Um,
next time you go out, if you're able to get like a little jar of unpopped popcorn kernels, the ducks that are near my house, they love those. Yeah, I don't know
Aw.
why.
Okay. But I think the bit further to the west of you, Andy, is the California redwoods. Have you ever been there?
No.
No, you definitely should try it sometime. I've always wanted to see them up close. They're just absolutely huge ancient trees, you know? Trees that are upwards of like 500 to 600 years old, and they're just towering.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
keep
I'll
that in
go
mind.
ahead. What?
I said I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do one of my stories. So, since I used to live near Denton, rather, I lived in Denton to go to college for UNT. There is this bridge called the Goatman Bridge. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. You
I
have?
was gonna say you're talking about Pennsylvania, right?
No, it's Denton, Texas.
Or okay.
Yeah, there's this Goatman Bridge, or rather Hangman's Bridge, where a man was lynched near the area, and so, a lot of people report haunted happenings, and there's a little nature trail you can go along there. And me and Lady Stone, when we were dating, we decided to check this place out, because she's got this, sixth sense. And we're walking along there, we go across the bridge, and it is, as we get into the forest, it is eerily quiet. I mean, I'm talking, we can't even hear, like, the sounds of cars from the road that are not that isn't that far away, And so, we don't get till, like, halfway through, and Lady Stone has us turn around. And we cross the bridge again, and by the time, we're on the walk up to the parking lot, she is pushing me to the car practically and telling me not to turn my head around. So I think something was following us. And, something that only she could sense, obviously. But definitely, even without my ability to sense anything, or without any ability on my end to sense anything, it was definitely a creepy spot, that's for sure. It was certainly an experience. That's for true, ain't it, my love? Yeah. And I take it whatever followed us that day didn't follow us further, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Oh god.
Yeah,
that,
sure.
that doesn't sound reassuring. What do you mean, yeah, sure, let's go with that? Have you had to repel anything?
Maybe.
Oh my god. Okay,
I'm sorry. Things stick to me like a gun.
okay, then yeah, we definitely need to bless the house more now, don't we? Oh my goodness.
I do twice a week
Okay. Well,
because there's a poltergeist at the place I work at,
okay, yeah, that too.
and was pretty upset with the makeover.
Makeover.
Yeah, they
Oh.
were repainting the walls and rearranging the art,
Mm-hmm.
and it did not like that. So it started throwing things at me,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
I finally told it. I said, "Look, if you're gonna act like a spoiled child, I'm not having it. So I need you to go to timeout, do whatever it is you need to do, jack it off. I don't care."
Yeah, poltergeists don't like it when things change, right?
Why is it that the poltergeists are never constructive with it? Like it seems every ghost story that starts, oh well, the activity really picked up when we started refurbishing this place because we'd like to open it back up as what it used to be, like a nice hotel or a theater or yada yada yada. And the ghosts are never like helping you pick colors or something. Okay, that's what I would like. If I'm refurbishing a place and I have a ghost there, I would like to just set out my color samples and the ghost just pushes the color that he thinks is going to be best for the walls or something instead of stealing power tools or throwing people down the stairs.
I think that would only work if the ghost was a gay fashion designer.
Oh my god, yes. It is so spooky. Oh, heapers jeepers.
Hey, Stone.
Oh, what's up?
I got a I got an outdoors adventure that you could. I think you should try Lady Stone. Have trying.
And what is that?
I sent it to you.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no.
So, DMs. I'm
Yeah,
checking it on
DMs.
my phone.
Yeah, in DM.
Okay, I'm checking it on my phone here.
Don't worry, it's on YouTube,
Oh my-
so it's nothing bad.
I'm
It's on
seeing it.
YouTube, so we're not going to
Yeah,
get
I'm
struck.
not showing it on the screen recorder. Andy, no, we are not doing that.
Oh my God, Andy, you have to send me whatever you send him, because if it's got him uncomfortable, I need to know.
All right, I'll send it. It's on YouTube, so it's not bad.
Well, yeah, it probably based on
The
how it
stuff
looks.
the stuff that can be on YouTube.
I know, and on top of
Well,
this, it
sometimes,
probably
like-
barely passes community guidelines.
Mm.
Probably.
It's under weekly review.
Yeah.
I can't send it.
Oh, to Rabbit?
Yeah, I can't. It won't let me.
Oh, you
Oh.
probably have to send him a friend request.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Um.
Now let me try again.
Anyways, Rabbit, let's go with your story next. What's your outdoor story?
Dear God, Andy.
Yeah, see, I told you.
I love it. And add to watch list. Okay.
It's
So an
this.
out. I mean, I have a spooky outdoorsy one that happened when I was in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And I've talked about this one on a couple other podcasts too. Like
Do that?
Us to do that, yeah.
one of the haunt, like America's America's Hauntings podcast, and then a few others. But for anyone
Spain.
that has been to the Middle East or any kind of an open desert, like there's like Stone was saying, there's this creepy feeling with just nothingness, but there's a calm. So I think we had spent 2 days getting to this place out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and there's this flat plateau in eastern Afghanistan that overlooks the river valley that goes eastward out of the country. So we were set up there. What was interesting about it was there were rocks piled up like a barricade wall, and one of the NCOs was talking to us and saying, "Oh yeah, well, this is left over from when the Russians were in Afghanistan and they tried to invade. The Russians would set up, stone walls and things like that to hang out and protect things and whatever, because they weren't making actual bases. They would just use what was around them." So
Right.
we were there where Russians used to be. You could even look around and you could find old AK shells. Like there definitely been a fight up there. So night comes, and this is the first night that we were there. And it's just this, it's so hot during the day that as soon as it gets to 80 degrees at night, it's so cold. It's freezing at 80 degrees. And then it just gets colder and colder. So we're all under night vision, looking around, and I'm just watching the landscape and keeping an eye on everything. And I saw movement to my left, and I knew there was another guy who was on a 249, which is our squad machine guns, the lighter one. And he is talking to this other guy who is not wearing, full kit, like no body armor, no helmet, nothing. But it was definitely like not a local. It was a paler skinned dude, younger guy. And I think I was maybe 30 feet away. So I saw him talking with this guy, thought nothing of it. And as I start to look away, I see my buddy, we'll call him Ramirez. He lifts his hand up and I see a lighter turn on. And it just, that flash of light. In the deserts, it is so obvious when light is there. You could have seen that lighter from miles out.
Damn.
So I'm immediately freaked out because now he's giving away our position.
Oh shit.
Before I could get over there to tell him, like, hey, cover the lighter, another guy came running up to do that. So I stayed where I was. But then everyone starts looking around like crazy. So in that whole kerfuffle, there should have been 3 people. Now there was only 2, the NCO and Ramirez. So I made my way over, and both Ramirez is like darker brown in tone. He was pale, just still holding that lighter, no longer on. And he's looking at the NCO, and he looks at me and goes, "Dude, did you see them?" And I said, "The guy you were talking to with the lighter?" He says, "Yeah." The guy came up and asked me for a cigarette. So I gave him a cigarette, but he didn't have a light, so I lit a cigarette. And as soon as he did that, according to my buddy, the guy had no like eyes. Like he had eyes, but it wasn't they were very pale and glassed over. So that freaked him out. The NCO came over because he just saw this random dude come up. And what he was able to make out was the guy was wearing the wrong kind of camo, basically. So my buddy and this NCO and myself, 3 people all say that he gave this guy a cigarette, this ghost. He gave a ghost a cigarette.
Damn.
And lit it for him. That was one of the freakiest moments of my life out there. It was absolutely astonishing. But that kind of carries over because we were in the same area where a Russian unit got ambushed.
Huh.
So like a whole bunch of them got killed off on this plateau before they pulled out of there. And as we made our way out of that area, we went down a goat trail, walked around the mountainside. There's this little open valley. There were blown out Russian vehicle wrecks. Like only the skeletons are there. The skeletons of the vehicles. So for all we know, like one of the dudes that was killed there came up the mountain for a cigarette.
Damn.
So that kind of
Wow.
became the lore for ourselves was, man, you know you're really jonesing when you're trying to get a cigarette after you're dead.
Yeah, for real.
It was wild.
Yeah.
But I will say, Afghanistan's gorgeous once you leave the cities or the larger towns. It's
Oh, just-
beautiful out there.
The open steppe and everything.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I mean, like,
Mongol music intensifies.
right? I think, yeah, that was one of the areas I think the Mongols conquered.
Like northern Afghanistan. I know under Temujin, the Mongols got at least into northern Afghanistan, and I think I want to say that his son or grandson's name was Ogaday.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
He pushed even further and made Mongolia what it was. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of history out there. Like there was a watchtower we saw from Alexander the Great because he also went through there.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so when Alexander went through like southern Afghanistan where I was, or southeast Afghanistan, his army was so big that one of the local stories is you could put a stone and have the army walk past it, and it would take 3 days from the front of his army to the rear of his army to pass the stone.
Damn.
According to them, that's how they surmise how big his army was, is that's how long it was. But since they're so big, they have to put these little guard towers up to defend the wagon trains and everything else, and they would have people stationed there, and then they would jump from tower to tower and watch the encampments. And we found one of those watchtowers. It was absolutely gorgeous.
The entrances even like shorter based on height differences back then.
It was really crumbled. It was probably, I would guess, at height. Like I'm not an archaeologist or something, but
Yeah.
because of how wide the base was, it was probably only around 20 foot tall.
Okay. All right, but I mean like the entryway to the door. Or
That was gone. That was gone completely.
Okay.
But there was graffiti on it. Like soldiers had carved. Like 100% it wasn't Arabic and it wasn't English or Latin. It was like Greek in it. And then there were like little pictographs on it.
The first
One-
names.
yeah. But it was like you had 2 male figures engaged in an adult activity carved into the wall, right?
Oh damn.
And then there was Greek.
Aw.
There was Greek over it. So
Yeah.
100% it was
That's so
disparaging against one or both of these people. So it
Damn.
kind of proved to us like soldiers are going to be soldiers no matter what era.
Yeah.
Like these guys were ticked off and they're like, man, I hate my commander. And they carved this graffiti into the wall that they're stuck at.
Yeah. Probably depicting someone getting
Oh, yeah.
getting wet.
It was not a popsicle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
stars.
Also, before the next story, remember, I'm doing memes to voice. So if you have like a comic meme for me to voice towards the end, let me know. Again, it helps me make it into a short, and then we can boost this on the algorithm that way. Just like put it in memes or something. Um,
Let me go onto my Pinterest again then, or like look.
but Nate, your story's next though.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can do both, you know.
Okay, well then do both.
Like, um, my like longest, definitely, or well, you know, to go with what I actually put into the chat
Uh-huh.
is like, well, maybe not by distance, even though I'm not sure, but it's definitely by time because we slept,
Excuse me.
we like slept outside. So yeah, it's definitely time based. And
Mhm.
I don't know how long ago it was, but it was when I was still in high school.
Mhm.
And me, my best friend, my like you know my best friend at the time, and her family, we went. I guess we could. Yeah, they had like a cottage in Bohemian Paradise somewhere. I don't know
Mhm.
where. And yeah, we spent some time in there. You know, it had a pond. I of course was in the pond because me and water, that's inseparable. And one morning, they just they instruct us to take our like outside stuff, our sleeping bags and the special mattress that you put on the ground. I don't know how it's called in English. In Czech,
Air
it's
mattress?
karimatka. That's your that's your Czech word of the day. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay. What is
Kari,
it called?
karimatka.
Kanimat Kanimatka. Okay, so
Mhm.
like a mat.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And so yeah, so we took that and we were just we were told to follow like my bestie. And we
Oh.
also had and we also took their dog with us.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well,
So we just set off into the forest, walked through the woods, cross meadows, around a village and like through a mill
mhm.
until we got into the woods again. And
Hmm.
there was this just steep as hill. I mean, it took ages for me to climb. I had like just layers. No, 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 not layers. Just chunks of like forest soil behind my nails. But
You
luckily,
had to
I
climb
was.
some of it by hand.
Huh? What?
You actually had to climb some of it by hand.
I mean, I had to.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy died.
Yeah, I guess you
I
either
had
had to
to
jump
again. It
or maybe
was just like so steep. I had to go on all fours.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
I've been on a
But
hill like that.
again, what?
I've had to climb a hill like that.
Okay. But yeah, luckily we made it to the top and it was just, like sunsetty, so we broke out like, some light dinner. I don't know, like pastry, some like savory pastry with ham and cheese and whatnot.
Hmm.
And we've made like, or we chose like a blueberry patch to sleep in, with our sleeping bags. It was cool. And and of course at the time I felt I felt safe because I had two other people and a dog with me. I don't know if if I would like feel safe to do it like again alone or with like one other person because I like it like the doggo element was pretty important, I feel,
I
because
see.
it is a guard animal.
Yeah.
So if some fucking weirdo would walk up to us into the like in middle of nowhere,
Right.
she she
Warn you
would
guys.
yeah, she would be
Also, do you
like,
have
"Rawr!"
also do you have your meme?
Not yet, but yeah. And the morning came, and I think I was woke up by her like by her I mean the dog whose name is Sophie. and I think it was either her snout to my face or her tongue. I don't know, but yeah, I woke up to something like cold and wet, and then I saw her like just trotting away from me, and I was just like, okay.
All right.
Good morning to you too.
That's how this boy wakes me up with his snout in my face when he's ready to go for a walkie. Eating that right, you truff.
So yeah, and then we just went, packed up, got going again, and I think we met with my bestie's parents again. Uh, okay. I I I can't remember exactly like if it was like a solid
Hmm.
place or some other like where our trail joined theirs. But like
Okay.
yeah, then we just continue the whole fam, and yeah, I mean I'm literally here. You can
These are-
you can see that I survived it all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, while you're still finding your meme, I'll go over my next story. Unless Andy, do you have one or new?
Actually, I'm gonna have to get going now. Sorry.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, good thing I did your story early.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for that.
All right. Later then.
Yep. Later.
Bye.
Okay. So Nate, while you're finding the meme for me to voice, I'll do my next story. So if we're gonna go with longest sort of nature slash hiking trip, it's definitely this whitewater rafting trip my mom took us on. I think when I was like 20 or 21 or something. Wait, no, 22 or 23, somewhere in there. I know it was while she was still dating her fourth husband, Steve. Yeah, my mom's been married and remarried a bunch of times. She's
I
on.
mean, you gotta find the one.
Yeah. I think she has with Chuck. Chuck is number 5, and he's sticking
Hey.
so far. And I'm not seeing any problems they seem to have. So yay, she
I
she
got
found.
my thingy.
Okay, I'll read it at the end. Um, okay, so yeah. Anyways, with this story, we were going whitewater river rafting, and it is loads of fun. I don't know if you've been, but it was a little 3-day trip, or like 4 days. Basically, if you count, the start and end of the trip. So you launch into the river rapids, you know, and you have to learn the basics of, rowing and everything, and everybody's got to row as a team or row as a side if you need to turn. The guides, showed us how to do everything. And, by the first stop, they got out what are called duckies, and I loved being in the ducky. It was basically a one-man, rowboat where you got, the double paddles and you're, you know, going by yourself, and that is always fun. You just row all by yourself, and there are points where when the river is like calmly floating, you don't have to paddle, so you can just kind of lay back and just let the river take you all in the. It was nice. You just laid there and you floated, and it was fun. But notably, like there were like little, stopping points, before we would, stop rowing for the day and just, camp out for either, for dinner, because basically that was our. We stopped for lunch, or we would just eat on the river. But if we were stopping, to make camp and do dinner, we do like a hike beforehand, and like it was in Utah, so it was. I forget like what tribe used to be around there, but we would
I think the
hike
Ute
to the.
were there.
Huh?
I think it was the Ute.
The Ute, yeah, that's why it was called Utah. But yeah, we would hike around there and see, a few Ute, totem ruins and stuff like that. It was really interesting, and yeah, it was just a really fun trip all around. Just whitewater river rafted, hiked, ate, whatever was cooked over a fire, and or just whatever snacks you packed for lunch, and just floated. And then before you knew it, it was over. But it was fun when we were there. That's really nothing super interesting like a ghost or anything. It was just fun. That was it. It was long. It was a long whitewater river rafting trip, and it was fun. That is my story. But Rabbit, you go ahead and go next.
I think, well, I guess the longest nature walk, quote unquote, was about 40 kilometers.
Mhm.
So miles, that's, I want to say something around like 22, 23 miles.
Woo!
Yeah. But I remember it being around 40 kilometers because that was the only measurement that we were using when we were
That all in
walking
one
around there.
day?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Started at
Damn, all in one day.
3 or
Shit.
4,
Wait, what?
3 or 4 in the morning. 40 kilometers.
All in one day.
Huh.
Yeah. And we barely stopped. I think we stopped twice-ish, and that was just to get bearings as to where we were going. But that little trek almost, that one almost wound up being bad news because we accidentally crossed the border at one point. Maybe by a few miles we crossed out of Afghanistan, so technically we weren't supposed to be there. So we were a little quicker getting out of that place. But that was the longest any of us had ever walked. And for anyone that doesn't know about it, when you're doing foot patrols out there, aside from, your weapon, your body armor, your helmet, you've got this bag on you. And on average, it's probably around 85 to 120 pounds, depending on what you're carrying. I was carrying 210 because I had a mortar system with me. It's a giant, if you play Battlefield or Call of Duty or Arma, you know what a mortar is. It's a big tube that you drop rounds in and it pops off and goes and blows things up hundreds of meters away. So I was carrying around 200 plus. And it was the most painful walk I'd ever had. By the end of it, my legs were toast. We stopped, I collapsed pretty much. My legs were shaking, my whole body was shaking. I felt sick. I was severely dehydrated at that point because I had gone through so much water with it. Then we had to stay out where we stopped for, I think we were out there for 8 days because it was supposed to be 3 days. And then it wound up being extended. So we were out there for 8 days. But you're 40 kilometers away from the next friendly place to be. But the whole time walking, you definitely got an appreciation on how mountainous Afghanistan is,
Yeah.
but also how pretty it is.
But I just posted
it's
it.
real obvious.
I just posted it in other pictures. Is the M252 what you were carrying?
Let me see. Other picture. Robot. Yep, that's the one. 81 millimeter.
Having to carry
So-
that thing.
If you're looking at the picture, I had the tube and the base plate, which is that round disc. I had both of those on my back because normally you're only supposed to be carrying, either or, the tube or the base plate.
Mhm.
However, the guy that was supposed to be carrying the tube with us got severely sick, so he couldn't go anywhere. But we can't stop the mission. So instead of getting one of the other normal infantry guys to carry the tube and be unfair, my squad leader looked at me and went, "Hey, you got rugby legs. You can carry both." Like, gee, thanks. Thanks for the vote of confidence. So I had to carry both of those things. So that base plate is around, I want to say around 52 pounds.
Oof.
And it's heavy duty
how
steel. Like
many?
you have to, about 52 pounds.
Let's see. That's about, I think, 26 kilograms.
Yeah, 25, 26 kilo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily with pounds and kilos, again, you like half the pounds to get the kilos.
And then the tube, I want to say, it's been a while since I've done trivia on my old mortar systems for like a promotion board. The tube is feeling on shoulder weight, probably around 60 to 70 pounds.
Oof. So you're
It's a-
carrying both of those things along with all your gear?
Yeah. And I
See?
had rounds. I had 81 millimeter mortar rounds in that bag too, because the weapon's no good if you don't bring ammo.
All right, so
So
all in all, you were carrying what, close to 200 pounds on your back?
yeah, like 210. Like basically my body weight. I was carrying my body weight at the time.
Damn, that's
Through the
like
woods.
training in 2 times Earth's normal gravity.
Oh yeah, and it was absolute misery. So
Yeah.
the Marines do it a little differently, where they'll uh, they'll take 2 rounds or so and they'll give it to each person, and it's just mandatory. So it kind of sucks if you're a Marine grunt. Army, we usually try to do that too, like you spread enough rounds out with it, but we weren't carrying that many rounds. I think in sum total we only had around 20 rounds for it. The Marines will carry like 100 rounds on a foot patrol for that thing. We were not doing that. So it was absolute hell. But yeah, 40 kilometers in a full day, and uh, the sun probably comes up like 4 hours after we left. So for a good chunk of it, we were coming in before the sun came up, and then the sun sets, and we're still going. So
Damn.
by the time we even got to where we're supposed to be, it was 11 or 10:30 or 11 at night. It was really, really late. And best part is, at the end of that walk, no one gets to go to sleep.
Oof.
So you're still up and awake.
Damn.
Absolute hell. I'm so glad I never had to do that again. And for those of you wondering, well, how'd you get back to base? Well, there's the fun part. We were supposed to walk back,
Oh my
But-
god.
without going into too much detail. Things got so bad on that mission. Like I said, it was supposed to be 2 days. It turned into 8 days.
Yeah.
A whole different unit, not in my deployment, wound up breaking through to the area, and we ran to the vehicles, got on, and left.
Damn.
It was a bad time.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I didn't have to walk back. That's all I'm grateful for.
I imagine so. And you in a blender. How are you?
Hello.
Well, I guess this is your first time for the luncheon. How's it going?
Is it,
It's been fun.
wait, is that? Yes,
What is it?
Swallow, yeah.
What is that mic
I-
you're
I-
speaking
I
through?
I recognize your profile picture. Oh, yeah.
Wait, my mic. No, I dropped this a few times. If it sounds weird, that's why I dropped this a few times.
Okay. What is that accent? Where are you calling from?
England, Great Britain
England.
mentioned.
Okay.
Man,
okay.
you can suck it.
Hmm.
I'm an Arsenal boy. I don't care.
What? You're a what?
Oh, football clubs.
Ah.
Bruh.
All right. Oh, you got another one, Nate. We'll do that one.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm just posting them for later podcasts. So yeah.
Okay.
Just so
Um,
we have those.
Before I get to all the memes, we'll do one more story from you, Nate. So you have another nature walk story.
I still well, I can and can't believe that like mine are like just more chill, both of you. But I think I may have told it already, but I'll tell it again because it's funny and it's in my brain.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
when I still lived with my parents, there was this cool, walkable path through like literally a patch of nature. Just in my town, you just get those, and it's awesome. And it was also like marshy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ugh,
And what? You don't like marshy?
I don't like marshes.
Wow. You
I imagine
wouldn't.
there's just too
You
much
wouldn't
mud.
like being with me.
Well, I
That's
almost
fair.
drowned in one, so yeah, I'm
Oh.
okay with that. No,
Yeah, I get that. All right, no marshes.
I would
for
rather
women.
go on a training rotation in Wales.
Mhm.
Puna Blunder, since you're from Britain, have you been to Wales to comment on that?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
You're not missing much.
Okay, whatever
But-
you say.
It's cold.
All right.
Meow.
Nate, your story?
But yeah, yeah. So and so I was going, I think, from town to my parents' place. Yeah, I was either it was either after like after a summer job, or actually no. Then I guess I just went shopping. But the point is, I was walking from the center to our to parents' place,
Hmm.
and it rained last night, and I think even the night before. So yeah, there were just these giant ass pedals, and again the marsh was more of a marsh that that way. And I was I was doing my pretty speedy walk, so I didn't notice like, well, I did notice like two ducks that were just in one of the puddles, one male, one female, probably just, and I tried to slow down to not scare them, but I scared them away anyways,
Oh,
and they flew like over to another puddle that was just like, well, it was like there was grass poking out of it, but they still normally landed in it and start just swam away, and and from and I just I thought that I interrupted a duck date. you know
a dog date?
it yeah, a duck date.
Oh, duck date. I thought you said dog.
Now, they were ducks, not dogs. SMH.
Sorry, it must be the accent. I thought you said dog.
Nah, it's a duck.
See, I must be getting better because I got it.
Yay.
All right. Is that the end of the story,
Yeah.
or?
Well, just a little. I apologized, of course, and then went my way to carry the memory and tell it to people.
Okay. All right. One more story of mine, then I'll start reading off memes. So, there was this hike that just me and my brother went on in Colorado. I forget the name of the mountain. I have to look it up or ask him. But we were just hiking, me, him, and his dog at the time, Daisy. And Daisy, of course, is this yellow lab who fetched everything. Like, she was walking around the whole time we were there with a rock in her mouth. Trying to carry the damn rock back down the hill because she just wanted to fetch. She just wanted the damn rock.
Rock
And
food.
yeah, but funny you speak of marshes. We came across this sort of interesting, rare formation, like high up just before the tree line stopped. Um, it was sort of a marsh, but there was a lot of mossy rocks, and it just sort of formed naturally. It was like a little mini valley almost before we got to like the actual part where we had to climb with our hands a little bit, and it was interesting. It was like sort of a, like I said, this little mini marsh, and of course, me being a gamer, I'm looking at this thinking it was like an area in Skyrim, and I'm like, that would be the perfect spot for like a dragon memorial. And Dan says, yeah, before it swoops down and eats you. I'm like, not a fighter jet. It can't do that.
Pull your phone out. It says cannot call enemies are in the area.
Yep. Yeah, it was an interesting little hike. We had some fun and again laughed at how many rocks Daisy tried to carry back down the mountain. Oh, and we also saw actual.
Hard.
Yep. We also saw actual mountain goats climbing vertically because I would
Yeah.
say like to our left there was like a sheer cliff, and obviously we weren't climbing that, but we saw mountain goats climbing it. They had their hooves slowly climbing on the little outcrops that were sticking out of the sheer rock, and we're like, how are they doing that? It's like,
I don't know, but I
That's
think I read
how.
somewhere mountain goats can climb any angle below 45 degrees or 90
Yeah.
degrees.
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it's
so-
not completely flat and there's something they can put their hoof on, they can get up there, which is crazy. But yeah, good noise there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start
Thanks.
voicing.
I actually like had a well, I just did that to our goats like at the zoo today. I was carrying some I think it was coffee. Yeah, coffee to the other stand, and you cross the goats, and yeah, one of them went meh at me, so I just started mehing back.
Yeah.
They're
That is
staring through the
crazy.
fence, going, "How come you're out there?"
All right, let's go ahead and read some memes, rather voice some. So I'm on your first one, Nate. We're gonna draw some blood. See, that wasn't so bad. Was that God? That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Taxi. At 2.
Oh, yeah, they do.
The movie theater. The drive-in movie theater. Of course. You have to wonder, right? Back when there was drive-in movie theaters, could taxi drivers take a break in there? That is a good question. That raises a very valid question.
I'm more concerned about what's that toll gonna be?
Exactly, the fare.
Because the meter is running. If
Yeah.
that's an hour-long movie,
Yeah,
oh no.
that is going to be one expensive fare, even for whatever the time is.
Eh.
Okay, so next one we have God grabbing a blimp and going, I'm a wolf sounds fellow, haha. If I had some helium, I'd actually make it authentic.
Mhm. Also, dang,
Hindenburg
I
explained.
I meant for the I thought you would do only one, not all three at once.
No, I'm going to do
In
it
a week,
all.
I'll have to search again.
Yeah, keep searching.
Strange.
That's what this is here
Strange.
for. Okay, reading yours now, Rabid. So, I got the man you were looking for. Oh my god, why is he dead? Your sign said you wanted him dead. Yeah, I fucking found him like this.
Lol, drop the accent as well. That's prime comedy.
Okay, so yeah, that's the classic frustration. Yes, start the free trial, but you have to enter credit card information. So it's not really a free trial because they're gonna bill you in 5 days. That's how it always works. That's how it always fucking goes.
Every
Maybe
time.
even D-Day, when you.
All right. Oh, and I've seen this one. Oh, do you have another one? Nah, too much responsibility. I want to end up like Jupiter. Good question. Impossible topic for the next one. Sort of thinking about the far future. I saw this speeder bike.
Oh yes.
Yes, they actually have
I
speeder
want
bikes.
one.
I
I
want
want
one
one
too.
so bad.
Yeah, I
Like
forget what the name of the company is. Here, I actually have it on my Facebook. It's not terribly far removed. So, what's the name of the
Oh,
company?
it's like a float. Oh, it's like a floating
It's the same
motorcycle.
folks that made the VTOL.
See.
Yeah, the let's see, what is it? What is this? The Volonaut. The Volonaut like speeder bike. It's like literally a Star Wars speeder bike, and I want it so badly. But it shows us the future is here, so the question becomes: how many of those moons that Jupiter has are we going to end up living on? You know?
Oh, definitely more than one.
Yeah.
Like, how many moons does Jupiter have? Let me look.
40?
Jupiter moons.
95.
Wow, 95?
Yeah, 95, just about. And yeah, there's Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Cowboy Bebop talked about Ganymede rock lobster. So it's
Hmm.
like,
Yep.
yeah, we're gonna end up having lobster farms on Ganymede.
Oh lol.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Yeah.
that. If we're going to use it agriculturally, heck yeah.
Hey, Saturn has even more moons.
Yeah, but we'll
Now-
come up with a more or less
74.
defined topic for next week. But that's along the lines I'm thinking of.
Like which anime universe or fictional universe more closely resembles a viable future in a space traveling society?
Exactly. Right.
Oh yeah,
What an interesting
'cause I already
topic.
I'll go-
Huh?
You first, Pooh in a blender.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, he said interesting.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay, so your next meme, Rabid. So where are we going? We're following you. Existential dread.
That's how it feels to be an NCO in the military.
It's like, oh, everyone's
Like-
following my lead.
Kids, I am just as lost as you are. I don't know.
All right, and then chicken thoughts. I've seen this one. Get that thing out of my face. My GM, who usually lets player roll for stats, point by comp. It's
Nice
like,
point by.
It's a method of creating your characters for Dungeons and Dragons. So traditionally, you would roll dice, and those become the stats like strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. Or the alternative is point buy, where you have a pool of points, and then you get to just choose where all those
Right.
points are going to go.
right.
I always made my players roll.
Oh, I haven't really played Dungeons and Dragons, but I might get into it. I don't know, probably not. I always tell myself that, but then I don't.
If you want a feeling for it, Baldur's Gate is basically that.
Yeah, from what I've heard. What they need to do is make a. They've made Baldur's Gate 3. They need to make Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 3. They teased a sequel,
Oh.
but nothing ever came of it.
I would not be
Baldur's
surprised if they just took
Brana.
that and put it into Baldur's Gate 3, though,
Oh, lame.
just as a
Lame.
DLC.
Yeah. You were saying, Nate?
Baldurova Brana.
What does that mean?
Oh, let's check
Baldur's
for
Gate
it.
in Czech.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I
So,
am.
SMH, according to you, the Baldur doesn't even have a gate. SMH, why is it called that then?
Well, I
SMH?
mean, the god Balder never had a gate. He just had
Yeah,
invincibility.
that's like bullshit. Why do you call it that then? If he never had a gate.
Right.
Or
But
no
yeah,
one's ever seen the
anyways,
gate.
names are funny.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Maybe mistletoe is the gate, since that's the gate to his vulnerability.
Ow.
Huh?
Ow.
Yeah.
It's like there was a TikTok video where a guy was like he was playing out Norse mythology out of context. Balder. Hey guys, I got this great game we can play. Let's play What Can Hurt Me.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
But that
Actually,
is
he
that
did
is
play
the
that
most
game.
Yeah, he did play that game. And I'm sorry, the first time I heard that story from my Norse pagan buddy, I just kind of laughed at it and said, dude, we would do something like this. Like we would get the one guy in our unit that is so tough that we would go, hey, I'm gonna punch him. Oh no, that didn't work. Hey, hold still. Or how many times you get a new toy like a taser or beanbag rounds or rubber bullets, the first thing that goes through our head is, I wonder what it feels like. And we pick one guy, sit him at the end of the room, and shoot him with a beanbag round.
Or
And then
like,
he's on the floor screaming and crying, and we're like, oh, I guess that hurts.
the
I'm
way
next.
Mimir and God of War Ragnarok told it, how how many arrows could stick in Balder before he just fell over.
From the
Lol.
weight.
Yeah. I think he.
But yeah, mistletoe is a bitch of a plant. No wonder that's like his weakness.
Yeah, that's why it's Balder's the thing that makes him vulnerable, because the agreement that Freya's magic made, or rather, I guess Freya and
What?
God of War, but I forget who gave him the power originally in the actual myths, but the agreement is that nothing on the earth or skies or sea could harm Balder. But mistletoe is something that grows on things that grow from the earth, because it's technically a parasitic plant.
Yep.
So
Not technically, it is.
yeah, it is a parasitic plant, so it grows on trees. So ergo,
Wait, so
it
could
doesn't
any
count.
parasitic plant hurt him then?
Huh?
Yeah.
Could
Well,
any
I guess.
parasite think.
But I think it was mistletoe in particular because the whole thing was meant to be kind of symbolic because Balder was the god of peace. And so basically, mistletoe ended up being a sort of representation of peace. This is why we, kiss. Initially, it's it became a romantic gesture with mistletoe, but now it's I think it was probably meant to be a platonic kiss back then.
Oh yeah, totally. A platonic kiss between bros.
Right. But that was basically the whole point. But anyways, I gotta wrap this up because me and Lady Stone gotta get ready for a house showing. We're taking a look at a house today.
Ooh.
And this afternoon will be Last of Us Part 2. Though it might be a little later because when we get back, I gotta take Morocco for his run. But yeah.
Right. And I
that-
guess posties will also be later.
Yes, or I'll get them right before we go. We got a little time.
Okay.
It's Wichita. It doesn't take long to get anywhere. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Nate, go ahead and close us out.
Goodbye, pebbles across all platforms. I hope you distinct distinctified by now. This has been the Idiots Podcast.